You ever notice how you only lose your keys when you are absolutely 100% already late? Like the universe waits until you are wearing one shoe and holding cold toast, and then it hides them. And now there is this tiny white coin called an AirTag that somehow knows where your chaos went. Convenient, suspicious, mysterious. Let us investigate the snitch disk, because on the outside an AirTag looks like almost nothing. No screen, no buttons, no tiny little map popping up like, "Hey, you left me under the couch again." Yet your phone can point you right to it, like some kind of high-tech bloodhound. Tap a button and suddenly, your keys are 10 meters that way. Not magic. Technology. Technology? That feels like magic. First thing to know, AirTags are not actually GPS trackers. I know that sounds wrong. They behave like GPS trackers. They feel like GPS trackers. They show up on a map, which is extremely GPS behavior. But inside that little disk, no GPS chip, no Wi-Fi, no tiny satellite dish hiding under the logo. The AirTag itself is basically the introvert of gadgets. It sits there, quietly minding its own business, whispering one thing over and over. I am here, I am here, I am here. How does it whisper? Bluetooth, specifically low-energy Bluetooth, which is like the power-saving, I am just going to text you, not call you, version of radio. The AirTag spends its day broadcasting a short, cryptographically scrambled message into the void. Over and over. Quiet little radio pings. No location in the ping, no personal info, no, "Hey, I belong to Alex and I live near that coffee shop that always runs out of croissants." Just a digital, "Yo, I exist." So if the AirTag is basically just yelling, "I exist," into the Bluetooth ether, where does the actual location come from? This is where the sneaky genius part shows up. Your AirTag is not talking to satellites. It is talking to other people's iPhones, millions of them, all the time, secretly, politely, invisibly. Do not panic yet. We are going to make this less creepy. Imagine your keys fall out of your bag at a cafe. Tragic, but realistic. The AirTag is under a chair, whispering its little Bluetooth message. Someone walks in with an iPhone in their pocket. They order a latte. They have no idea your keys are there. But their phone hears the AirTag's whisper. It goes, "Oh, a random encrypted Bluetooth signal. Let me quietly help with that." It measures how strong the signal is, does a little math, grabs its own GPS location, and sends an encrypted update to Apple's servers. Important detail, the phone does not know whose AirTag it is. It does not know what it is attached to. It does not see your name or your Apple ID. It basically says, "Hey, Cloud, I heard this anonymous thing near this place. Here you go." No personally identifying gossip, just coordinates and a scrambled tag ID helping out. But not snooping. Helpful, not creepy. Helpful, not creepy. Keep repeating that if it makes you feel better. Now jump back to you. You open the Find My app on your phone and ask, "Where are my keys and also my dignity?" The app checks in with Apple's servers, which have collected all those anonymous little, "I heard this AirTag here," reports from random passing devices. They match the scrambled ID from your AirTag with your account, decrypt it so only you can see it, and then your phone goes, "Aha, your keys are still at that cafe where you tried to convince yourself you only needed one pastry." So the AirTag does not actually know where it is. The passing iPhones do not know what they are looking for. Apple in the middle cannot see whose keys belong to whom in plain text. But when you ask, all the pieces snap together and suddenly there is a dot on your map. That is the trick. Not one device knows everything, but together they know enough. Not omniscience, collaboration. Super nosy, privacy-preserving collaboration. And the wild part is, this works even when the AirTag is offline. It does not need its own data plan. It does not need Wi-Fi. It just needs to be near someone else's device that is already online. It is like your AirTag is piggybacking on the entire Apple ecosystem. One little disc, backed by a giant invisible crowd. A crowd you will never meet, never thank, and who will never know they helped you rescue your backpack from under a restaurant table. There is a fun twist. The AirTag's identity keeps changing. Not like full witness protection program, but close. The Bluetooth identifier it broadcasts rotates regularly so that no one nearby can go, I keep seeing this same AirTag signal every day at this time. Let me stalk that. To anyone else, it is just a constantly changing stream of nonsense. Only your devices, armed with the right keys, can look at the noise and go, "Oh, that noise? That is my suitcase." It is like your AirTag is wearing 1,000 different fake mustaches, but your phone still recognizes its walk. Okay, that is the big picture. AirTag whispers, nearby Apple devices hear it, the cloud does some secure matchmaking, and your phone shows you where your stuff wandered off to. But there is one more layer that makes it feel less like your keys are somewhere in this zip code, and more like your keys are precisely behind that evil couch cushion. This is where Ultra-Wideband steps in, doing its best impression of a high-tech treasure detector. If you have a newer iPhone with that fancy Ultra-Wideband chip, your phone can talk to the AirTag using very short, very wide radio pulses that are excellent at measuring distance and direction. Not just the signal seems strong, but the signal took this many billionths of a second to bounce back. Therefore, the tag is this many centimeters away. Suddenly, your phone stops being a map and starts being a compass. You get that big arrow on screen pointing left, right, closer, colder, hotter. It is like playing hot and cold with your belongings, except the phone is oddly smug about being right. The phone uses a mix of ultra-wideband timing, the strength of the Bluetooth signal, motion sensors, and a bit of digital fairy dust to build that experience, where the arrow wobbles around and then locks in as you get close. As you walk, it updates in real time. Far, still far. Getting closer, very close, right next to you. You become a human metal detector, except instead of rusty coins, the prize is your wallet that you definitely swore you put right there. And when you are very close, AirTag has one final trick. It can just scream. Well, beep. Loudly. You hit play sound, and the tiny speaker inside goes off. So now you have audio plus the arrow plus the map. Visual clue, directional clue, annoying chirping clue. It is like your lost stuff is yelling, "I am literally right here. Please stop blaming everyone else." I know what you are probably thinking at this point. This sounds incredibly useful and also like it could be used for supervillain behavior. You would be right on both counts. And that is where things get interesting, because AirTags have a whole second personality that only shows up when they are traveling with someone they do not belong to. But hold that thought. We will come back to the paranoid part. For now, let us sit with the main idea. Tiny disk, no GPS, no Wi-Fi. Just Bluetooth whispers, a massive anonymous crowd of devices acting as scouts, and some fancy math turning fuzzy radio waves into "your backpack is still in the Uber." Not magic, network, not a tracking chip with superpowers. A name tag for objects that happens to live on top of one of the largest device networks on Earth. When you think of it that way, the AirTag itself is almost boring. The real star of the show is everything around it. The phones, the cloud, the protocols, the encryption. The AirTag is just the stickman in the middle of the screen, blinking while the entire world quietly helps it find its way home. But now, about that paranoid part I left dangling like a mysterious cliffhanger. Text. Yes, Apple also designed AirTags for the situation where they become unwelcome passengers. Because as soon as someone invented Find My Keys, someone else thought, aha, find this random person. Humans, amazing and also occasionally terrible. So AirTags come with a built-in, hey, this is weird reflex. Here is how that reflex works. Your iPhone is quietly listening, not just for your own tags, but for AirTags that are hanging around you for suspiciously long road trips. Not a quick, we were both in the same coffee shop, but more like, we have been commuting together for hours, and I do not recall inviting you. If your phone notices the same stranger tag moving with you over time, it pops up an alert. AirTag found moving with you. Translation: either this is yours and you forgot, or someone is being creepy. Investigate, my friend. Once that alert shows up, your phone can make the AirTag play a sound so you can track it down, and it will show you roughly where it has been with you. Time, places, the whole awkward timeline. On top of that, even if nobody checks, a tag separated from its owner for long enough will eventually start making little periodic noises on its own, like a guilty conscience with a tiny speaker. The idea is that this thing should be good at finding your stuff, but bad at secretly following people. Good tracker of objects, terrible stalker. On purpose. And if you are on Android, you are not completely left out in the cold paranoid rain either. There is a scanner app you can use to check for nearby AirTags that might be traveling with you. Not as automatic as the iPhone version, but still, the system is trying very hard not to turn into Find My Victim. That is the tightrope AirTags walk. Helpful, not horrifying. Convenience, not surveillance. Where are my keys? Not where is that person? So in the end, how do AirTags work? They work because millions of tiny, boring moments add up. A silent Bluetooth ping here, an anonymous GPS fix there, a rotating ID, an encrypted update, a map dot, an arrow, a beep. They work because your tag is never really alone. It is surfing on this giant wave of devices, math, and rules that say, help the owner, but protect everyone else. Tiny disk, huge chorus. And they also work because our brains are delightfully lazy. We are more than happy to hand off the job of remember where you put that to a gadget the size of a button. You are still the main character in the story, but now your stuff has a supporting actor, this little stickman of a device, blinking in your pocket, whispering, I am here, I am here, I am here, until you finally tap the app, follow the arrow, lift the couch cushion, and go, oh, of course it was there. Not magic, but you have to admit, it kind of feels like it.